Hey, I'm Shelly,
And I'm Angela,
and this is Real Talk Dating Exposed.
where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of dating in your 40s.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like us below.
And if you're listening to us on audio, please subscribe as well.
Now let's get into it. We want to welcome Paul Green onto our podcast. He's our first guest ever.
Yes.
And we're going to discuss dating on this episode. So just dating in general.
Okay. Not specifically.
I mean, not you're dating maybe specifically for you.
Okay.
But we're going to kind of
But
start
in
with
general, for everybody else, specifically to me.
Exactly. And also the man's perspective, right? Because we can sit here all day long and share.
A man's perspective, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am one in a sea of many.
Yes.
I was not voted to be the spokesman for men on dating, but I will provide my perspective
No
specifically in general as one man in the dating
Pool.
In the
sphere.
dating pool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll lead with this question then, because I feel like you have a. I mean, you have an extensive dating past. Maybe not super successful in your 43 years.
Oh, yeah.
We are not mad at you. So think back to what is your
yeah.
worst date story? Do you have something that really stuck with you? Like, oh man, that made you never want to get out there again?
All of them made me never want to get out there again. I mean, it's brutal. You know what I mean? It's such a vulnerable thing, and such a innate human desire. I mean, it's the most basic innate human desire, which is to mate and to pair bond, and to just be like, I want to mate with you. No, I mean, it's just like I thought this was going to go in a different direction. Let's see. I think my ego is too much to point out where I screwed up, which is plentiful. But I will say a date story that was just so bad. So this was back. So I was raised in the LDS religion. So it's its own culture, very high demand religion, and a lot of cultural influence around dating and marriage. It's high pressure. The pressure to get married, to court and get married young is very high. And I remember I met this woman at some sort of singles activity, and we're having a good conversation. And
How old are you?
It's got to be like mid-20s.
Okay.
We're doing ancient history here. And we're having a good conversation or whatever. And then she goes, well, hey, it'd be fun to get to know you better. You want to go out sometime? Which, by the way, was actually sort of a faux pas that she initiated.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm going,
Takes the pressure off.
yeah. Because I'm used to always having to, want to go out? No. Okay. You want to go out? No. You know what I mean? And it's just such like a gut punch. And to always have to put yourself out there and always be the one getting rejected. I know there's a whole other side of that. But anyway, so we end up going out on this date, and she really just starts dropping all of this like baggage in terms of just like how unhappy she is in dating, and it just got really like negative. And she goes, yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to go out with you because you just seem like a good guy where I could talk to and like tell my problems to, like that sort of thing.
So it was like a therapy appointment for
And
her.
I'm going, this just feels really, really weird.
Yeah.
And then, so it put me in this weird situation where I'm like, I don't even want to be on this date anymore.
Are
But
you guys like getting dinner?
Yeah, we're at dinner.
You're at dinner. Okay.
and then while this is happening, like my buddies text me like, hey, we're going to this movie. And I just wanted nothing more than just to leave and go watch this movie with my buddies. You know what I mean? So now it's that situation where I'm just trying to be as cordial and polite to get out of there as fast as possible. But she wants to keep talking and prolonging it and making it longer or whatever. So then I'm going like, well, maybe I can just take her to the movie. At least then I don't have to talk. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to do. But she was not picking up on my like
Cues.
Yeah.
at all. So we end up leaving the restaurant, and then she's like, well, so what do you want to do now? I'm like, oh, you think this is
Gonna keep
Gonna
going?
keep going?
Yeah.
And I'm going like, oh, well, I really hadn't planned anything after dinner. She's like, oh, well, I just thought as the man you would have planned out a date. And she starts I'm going like, wait a minute, you asked me out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she like asks me out, but then she like 180s it and then starts making it my fault that this date isn't going better. And so I'm going, oh, well, I have some buddies of mine who are seeing this movie. We could go watch this movie. She's like, no, I really don't want to watch that movie. So then I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with this person, right?
Yeah.
So then And then she kind of pulls this guilt trip. Well, I guess you could just take me back home if you don't really want to go out, like that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
so now she's like guilt tripping me. And so I just am trying to navigate this situation. So I finally end up, taking her back to her house, and I walk to her door, and I was just like, I just need to walk her to her door.
And be done.
Say goodnight.
Yeah.
Awkward hug, maybe. So I walk her to her door. Then she starts like trying to find her keys. She's like, oh, I don't know if I have my keys. That's okay. I think my mom's home. And then she just knocks on the door. I'm going, I do not want to meet this woman's mom.
Yeah.
So I'm at the doorstep. And then her mom opens the door. Oh, hey, where have you been? You're whatever. And she goes, oh, well, I was on a date. Well, does he want to come in?
Oh, God.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
No. Yeah.
she goes, yeah, I guess he can. Well, and so she like invites me into her house.
Did you go in?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I'm like so trapped.
Grab your balls,
And this
ball.
is 25-year-old me. I was a
Yeah.
people pleaser. I had no ability
Yeah.
to establish boundaries and any of
Yeah.
that stuff. That took a lot of therapy to get to that point. And so now I'm in their house, and the mom would never talk to me. She would talk to her daughter, and you could just tell that this woman was. I was like, oh, the daughter now makes sense. Now, seeing
looking
who her
at the
mom
mom.
is and how this environment that she lives in, she'd be like, well, does he want something to drink? Well, what does he want to drink? I'm like,
I'm right here.
I'm sitting right here, and I'm just like, how the heck do I leave this
Situation,
place
yeah.
and get out of the situation? So, finally, like, she brings me water and was having a conversation with me through her daughter. It was just so
That is really
weird.
Bizarre.
So finally, I just was like, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I get out of here in time to go meet up with my friends for the movie?
Did you?
I did not. And
No,
so by the
yeah.
time, the movie was
Yeah.
like 45 minutes in. So it's like, now I didn't get to go to the movie. And then I got
You got to
to
meet
do
mom.
that whole situation.
Yeah.
So that's one where I'm the good guy. Ish.
Yeah. Have you ever been catfished?
Yes, I have
Okay,
been
tell us about it.
catfished. This was also, this was probably the most brazen. And this was like when the internet was new still. This was like early 2000s.
MySpace
internet
days?
Yeah, MySpace. I don't even remember how I met this woman, but I met her on whatever. And she sent me this picture of her, and it's like a picture of her being a cheerleader, like up in Las Vegas. What is that? Ellen, what's the university up there? Las Vegas University. But anyway. So we start talking all the time, and of course it felt very intimate. The conversations were very deep, and
You're talking on the phone.
yeah, we're talking on the phone and
Yeah.
a lot of texting. So we talk on the phone and we have these long conversations, and but she would never. It got to the point where I'll drive to Vegas. I mean, I was that
Yeah, into it.
anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
What was that?
How long was the conversing going on?
Several months. And it wasn't like every day, but it would. We would check in with each other
Yeah,
periodically
over
and
time.
have these long
Sure.
conversations. And then what's really funny about this is I don't remember how it came up, but I'm a musician. I play guitar and drums and piano and stuff. And she said, "Hey, I want you to write a song for me," which I'd never really done before. Never really written a song for a woman. I'm like, heck yeah, I'll write a song. So I write this song for her. And funny is one of the lyrics is that she never lies to me. Or something, like something like that. And so I write the song for her and I sing it to her over the phone, and she totally goes quiet, and you can tell like she's really emotional. And then she just goes cold. And I didn't hear from her for months and months and months. And I would keep checking into her. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I wrote my
miss
song.
you. What's
Yeah.
going on? Weren't you the song? I was like, what's the song that bad? And then so finally she gives this big confession text, or maybe it was an email or something, to where she just goes, I've been lying to you. This is what I really look like. And she does not look like a UNLV cheerleader. And just,
That's a serious catfish story.
totally serious.
But so there was no other exchanges during that time of like, here's another pic of me. Did you
No.
just have one and you
Just
never
one
thought?
pic.
No
And as a
video
dude,
chatting.
that was enough.
Yeah.
That was enough to
hindsight,
keep.
right? Hindsight's always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you
Looking
look back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched that catfish show that's on Netflix? She was catfished for 10 years, this woman.
Oh, my gosh.
Could you imagine? So,
There was that football player.
yes.
Manti Te'o
Yes.
was
Yeah.
a big one,
Yeah.
and then there was another one about this dude who would like like defrauded this woman. Like they actually
there's-
met.
Yeah.
The show,
The Tinder
she was like
swindler.
a restaurant.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Tinder swindler.
Yeah, that guy.
No,
What-
and then also the restaurant owner. I can't remember the.
Oh, that was the other one.
But
There's
it
tons of
happens.
those out there. It
Yeah, it
happens.
happens.
And then you think like, listen, a couple months you feel not so slighted. I
Right.
mean, you didn't really have, you had time invested, but not money,
Yeah.
you know.
Can you sing us the song?
It was like, what once in time, lost in the moment, I can't find the answer, I can't find the way to you. Something's wrong, something is missing, I just can't quite place it. I can't figure out why I'm still thinking of you when I've never seen you. Julianne, she's always there for me, she never lies to me. Something like that.
Yeah,
Mike, you remember the whole thing.
that's impressive.
It was a song I wrote.
Yeah.
I
Was her
haven't-
name
I
Julianne?
even maybe.
Maybe yeah. we're still trying to find her.
I actually recorded that song. I have it somewhere in a Google Drive. I wrote that. Gosh, that was like 20 years ago.
You got to replace your new
Goodness.
girlfriend's name in there.
What's that?
You got to replace your new
Yeah.
girlfriend's name in there.
Well,
Be like,
Now
I
she's
wrote
going to
the
hear
song
it
for
and
you.
then she's going to want a new one.
I'm not
So.
sure my new girlfriend would appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that Shelly and I do is we give our dates nicknames. Do you do this? As we hear some men do this, but we're just curious. Is this
It's like
something
like the date is so significant that she deserves a title, or
So
he
normally
deserves
it's
a title.
so- Or-
let's say you meet Sally and Sally's a teacher. Then you would, as you're talking to your friends, you're like, yeah, teacher and I are going to go out on a date because Sally isn't anything to you until she becomes something. And once she
Until.
becomes something, then she became.
But I will preface, our nicknames occur before meeting them.
Yes.
So once they,
So I feel like once we establish a connection with them in whatever level, then something that sparks us to remember them, it just naturally, I feel like ours just naturally comes.
We've had what are some of the motherfucker? We've had
Air Force.
wrestler, Air
well, you're
Force,
both moms, right? Aren't you
Batman.
moms?
I'm not.
No.
You're a mom. Well, if you hook up, then that would technically be true.
I mean, true story. Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, we had
So
a whole,
do you? Nicknames.
That's not a practice for me. I think that's interesting. I feel like if you're giving them titles, that must mean you just have a slew of men that you're trying to keep track of and trying to keep track of.
It's just a
There's
way
Rick,
to like make
there's
it
Chad,
fun.
There's Tyler.
It's just
think
a way
what-
to make it fun.
yeah,
make it
you're
fun.
not
Like,
discussing your dating life with, so we talk about everything, right? So like it makes it, maybe it's more of like a girl to girl thing.
Yeah.
But like,
Maybe,
I
yeah.
don't feel like men talk as much about their dating lives with their friends as women do.
Yeah. I don't even like right now. I don't have a guy friend
That you talk to about.
that's on the phone. I used to have, a couple of those. It's the funny thing. Most of the men my age are like married, especially because I was raised in the LDS church. Almost all my guy friends are married with 700 kids now.
Yeah.
And so
miserable
they don't
and
even have
hating their life.
time. They don't, like if I get them on the phone every 6 months or get a lunch with them every couple of years,
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
like
a year.
thrilled to death.
Yeah.
And they're usually like, hey, how's it going? Okay, I can only talk for 50 minutes and then I got to get to soccer practice and I
Yeah,
got to get
yeah.
back to work.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. So the last thing you're doing is like bringing
Yeah.
up, hey, I met
Yeah.
Sally.
So I met the nurse. Hey. Let me
Okay.
tell you about the nurse. How's that going?
Yeah, doesn't that sound better? No.
I feel like it does.
Yeah,
It
it
helps us.
okay,
And then the
okay.
problem with that though is sometimes we forget their real names.
Yeah, we're like,
And then I'm like, wait, what? What?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's funny. I get that. I
not
think
a
that's
thing.
a fun
I think
practice.
it's more of a women thing.
Okay, so what do you think? You're 43,
Uh-huh.
right? And our show is dating in your 40s. What do you think the biggest struggle there is with dating, especially when you're dating in your 40s? What do you think the biggest struggle is?
Ooh. I would think probably being willing to not have historical precedents. You know what I mean? Like, because we're probably here because things didn't go the way that we wanted, right? And we've had bad experiences, right? Relationships that didn't go well, dates that didn't go well. And so it's like, well, I put my hand on that hot stove for 20 years, but that hot stove's going to go so much better. You know, like being willing to just keep trying and going, well, that last person that hurt me or that didn't go well or, that made me feel a certain way. Well, that's all in the past now. Really trying to clean the slate and treat each human that you interact with as an individual. And I really try to adapt that as I got to this point, because to me, it was the complete opposite. I was raised just get married young, and then it never happened for me. And so like, I've only dated
Yeah.
forever. I never got into relationships that lasted long term. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
So to me, to even have any sort of idea that I would be able to be in a long-term partnership with anybody, I have to like get over that and be like, well, have a track record of 0% success.
Now, was that a red flag for her?
It has to be.
Do you talk about it?
Yeah.
That it is?
She hasn't expressed it as a red flag, but
just concerning.
But I'm just saying, like, hey, this is who I am. This is my past. This is what I've been through, and and because of that, I can't think 5 years. I can't think 10 years. I can't do that, right? And so, I love being with you. I'll be exclusive with you.
We'll take it one day at a time.
But we got to take it one day at a time. And if that ever changes, if you ever need to sit down and be like, I'm getting to a certain point to where I need you to at least, we need to sign a lease. We need to get the government involved somehow. We need some paperwork. Then I'm like, and just be open and honest, and then I'll see if I'm there. You know what I mean?
Do you worry that you won't be able to get, like, do you have concerns that you're not going to be able to get there because you've never been there before?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But at least, so I feel like if you communicate, though, if your communication stays good, I feel like then you guys will be all right. I feel like that's just where majority of problems happen, right? Is because people are feeling a type of way, or they can express their past, what they've been through, or what they're feeling about their current partner because they don't want to trigger them, or, so to me, communication's like a huge piece of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had that conversation to just go, if we end up not being each other's forever people, we have both expressed that we feel that we will always be in each other's lives, or at least be friends and loving towards each other. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And, because not everybody is supposed to be forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've really tried to adapt my thinking from any woman who was not going to commit to me for the rest of their life, it's a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of waste of time.
Yeah.
Like a date with a person who you don't vibe with at all, to
It's
me,
an experience.
I don't think that's a waste of time.
No, you've learned something. We
We
talk
talk
about
about this all the time. Yeah.
Right. And that's a human being who, for whatever reason, decided to give you their time and their energy. You decided to give them, your time and your energy. To me, that's very sacred. You know what I mean? Like that's still very meaningful. Like I've tried to detach from every relationship, and it's still a relationship. It was a one-night dinner relationship, and the relationship did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was have an awkward conversation with someone, for an hour and never talk to them again. But they're still part of your story, and you're still part of theirs. As long as as long as you're going in there with, I don't need that person to be anybody else other than who they are, and I don't need to be anybody else other than who I am, my best self and my most authentic self. And me being my most authentic and them being their most authentic is somebody that we won't ever talk again. But that doesn't mean it was a waste of time. It just means that moment
Was what it was.
was what it was and is what it is. So yeah, I don't like I feel like the whole wasted time probably means that somebody wasn't being honest. If you feel that way, either somebody was going in it with a certain expectation, or somebody was dishonest. You know what I mean about what their expectations are, which obviously happens a lot. But no, I try to be in the moment, right, and let each moment bleed into the next without this fear and this worry of, well, I got to know what you're going to be doing every day for the next 10 years and what your game plan is. And again, not that that's not important. It's important to have plans and goals and ambitions, because that's part of the story. But as you know, every goal and ambition changes, and careers change, and kids change, and
people change, everything
and
changes.
Economies change, and presidents change, and there's always things evolving. So being willing to understand that, to me, every relationship is sacred, and I put as meaning and intentionality into showing up in the most supportive, authentic way in the relationship that I'm in now, and letting it evolve and grow as it's going to evolve and grow. And if she wakes up one day and goes, you want to know what? I don't know if I want to be dating a comedian anymore who's going to be traveling and touring all the time. I need something different. It's like, that would be really hard.
But you would survive.
We would survive, and we'd have a conversation, and then it would be, well, that's what our story was supposed to be, or it goes a different direction. I don't know. But I think probably why I've adapted that philosophy is because I was so the opposite in my 20s. Like in my 20s and even in my 30s, my whole life was supposed to look a certain way because I was told that.
Yeah.
I was told that by my religion, by the culture. Like, if your life doesn't look like this Hallmark card, you're doing something wrong. You're supposed to have this wife and these many kids and this house and this fireplace and this Christmas tree. You know what I mean? And I never had that ever. And it kept on not happening. And so I spent so much of my life thinking I was failing at it, and that I wasn't worthy, or that I wasn't faithful enough, or that I wasn't good enough, or that there was something wrong with me. And the reality is there were things wrong with me. You know what I mean? But because I was trying to squeeze myself into somebody else's ideal, I was never able to just be present with, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation without being like, is one of these going to be my forever wife? You know what I mean? And I don't think that energy is attractive.
No.
I don't think it's effective.
Anxious attachment.
Anxious. Okay. Yeah.
Anxious attachment.
But again, it's worked out for lots of LDS people. So for other people, they got the Hallmark card and that worked out great for them, but that wasn't my life. And
it's not your story.
Yeah.
It's not my story. So now I'm just
living,
turning it one page at a time.
One page at a time.
So as we wrap up this episode, one tip, one piece of advice that you would give to someone who has walked maybe a similar path as you, and they're feeling like they're never going to meet their person.
This is cliche. This is not original to Paul, but I have found the most fulfillment in always turning inward, which sounds selfish and narcissistic, but inward in terms of if I'm not happy being me, then no one else is going to provide that. Right. And if I'm not fulfilled, and if I'm not happy and excited about life, I think there's this strong cultural tendency that if you are not in a thing, that you are a less than.
Sure.
And I felt that. I felt that for most of my life, that there was something wrong with me, and that because I don't have this Hallmark card again, that I must be unhappy. I must be miserable. There must be something wrong. And the more I just went, you want to know what? I actually love being single. I love myself. I love all of these things that I get to do. And now I have this relationship that accentuates that fulfillment and happiness.
Yeah.
I don't need it from her. She doesn't need it from me. We get to just show up in each other's lives
authentically, and you stay individuals,
just make
each other better.
Yeah, and support each other, and we're there for each other, and we get the affection and the love and the companionship and all that, and it's very beautiful, and it's new for me.
Yeah,
like
love that.
This. I'm 43. This has never really happened. I had a very bad traumatic relationship that was also very short. That again, I came out of that and just went, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Is this ever going to happen to where I can just be with somebody who I just like being with and just likes being with me? And we have the chemistry and the butterflies and the affection. Like that's all really, all of it. All really great as well. But where I don't feel like I'm constantly not enough.
Sure.
But the reason I was having relationships where I felt that way is because I felt that way anyway. And so no woman would ever be able to make me feel enough. Yeah. Because that's a bottomless pit. That's so love yourself first. Yes. If you aren't happy now, get happy.
Yourself
internally.
Before
yourself.
Don't look for it on the outside of yourself.
Be fulfilled.
Wise words of Paul Green.
Yeah, love that.
All right, Paul.
Thank you so much for being on. Where can the people find you on socials?
Sure. So I'm at Paul Green Comedy. I'm a local stand-up comedian. I also tour, do Paul Green Comedy, and I'm also part of a 2-person comedy show called the Midlife Crisis Comedy Show.
Love that.
Which is also super fun. So Paul Green Comedy, Midlife Crisis Comedy Show.
Okay.
Come check it out. Get
We'll
some
link
laughs.
him below.
Well, yes, we'll link
On our
you in the
YouTube
details
and
so people can find you.
all the
Yeah.
things.
Thank you for
Paul,
coming
thanks
on.
for
We
coming
appreciate
on.
you
bet.
being
Thank you,
here.
ladies.
Yes.